Hi dancers, Jess here. Welcome back to the Whole Dancer YouTube channel. Today I'm going to chat about the Whole30 diet and if I think it's something dancers would benefit from trying. So to start out, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. The Whole30 diet is not affiliated with the Whole Dancer, but it's a very popular diet trend and it's something that, you've possibly known people who have tried, parents, friends, siblings. And so it's one of those things that comes up for us. Diet talk is popular in culture. Diet information is popular on the web and beyond. So I do think it's worth looking at different things that you might be hearing about and seeing if it's something that is good or bad or something just like kind of indifferent. So to talk about the Whole30, I wanted to start out by just sharing a little bit about what it is. And in order to do that, I just went straight to the source and I looked on their website. And so I'm sharing these things straight from the Whole30 website. And then I'll talk about my thoughts on that diet for dancers. The Whole30's plan says, yes, eat real food. That's the number one tenet. I can get behind that, for sure. Then it goes on to say eat moderate portions of meat, seafood, and eggs, lots of vegetables, some fruit, plenty of natural fats and herbs, spices, and seasonings. Eat foods with very few ingredients, all pronounceable ingredients, or better yet, no ingredients listed at all because they're whole and unprocessed. So that's certainly in line with advice that I'm sure you've heard me give on this channel before. The more that we can focus on whole foods, unprocessed, and eat real food, the easier the whole eating healthy thing can be and the less stressful and complicated it has to be. Making good dietary choices can be relatively simple, but we tend to get confused because there's so many packaged foods around. Are these packaged foods healthy or not? So I do also tend to agree with the looking for things with pronounceable ingredients. So when you're eating things that are packaged, make sure that it's all ingredients you can recognize and pronounce. Then they go on to say, so the diet is called the Whole30 because it's a plan that they want you to follow for just 30 days. So I have a little bit of an issue with that, but I'll speak about that later. For the 30 days that you're on the program, this is what they want you to do. Do not consume added sugar, real or artificial. Do not consume alcohol in any form, not even for cooking. Do not eat grains. Do not eat legumes. Do not eat dairy. Do not consume carrageenan, MSG, or sulfites. Do not consume baked goods, junk foods, or treats with approved ingredients. So they say recreating or buying sweets, treats, and foods with no breaks is missing the point of the Whole30. And then they say their mantra is when in doubt, leave it out, at least for these 30 days. They have another rule that says don't step on the scale or take any measurements for 30 days. So here are my takes on the different ideas that they have in this program. I think that if you are a vegan or vegetarian, it's going to be quite challenging to follow because if you can't eat legumes and you can't eat grains, and you're supposed to be sort of relying on meat or eggs for a lot of nourishment, that's going to be quite challenging. A lot of you would be stuck with just eating vegetables most of the time. Vegetables are great, but if it's your only food source and it's your only option, it's going to be very hard to follow. Whenever I'm helping dancers to eat a little bit more healthfully or switch up eating habits, I like to focus on what they are including. So when you're faced with so many no's, so many things that you should be avoiding, it can start to feel restrictive. And I know that my experience with dieting and looking for better eating plans, I always enjoyed, or I would tend to gravitate towards the things that were somewhat more restrictive, because then it just sort of felt like I had fewer food options, therefore I would be eating less, therefore I would meet my body goals more quickly, which I learned over time is really not the best way to tackle it. And most dancers discover when they try to be more restrictive, it leads to binge eating or overeating. So you tend to go from one way to the other. I do think it's great that they say you shouldn't be weighing yourself or taking measurements for at least 30 days. Anytime you're making a switch and anytime you're trying to track progress, you want to make sure that you give your body the time to respond to something. And if we're stepping on the scale every single morning or taking out the tape measure and measuring our limbs, you're just not going to see any changes quickly, so you have to give your body the time to adjust. Whenever something is temporary, like a 30-day situation, like in the Whole30's case, I always get concerned about what's going to happen to people afterwards. So what's going to be the game plan after you stop following the Whole30? And I know that they have some sort of, plan for as you're transitioning away from eating in this way. But I do think that it can still be a little bit daunting and sort of easy to go from Whole30 eating to then wanting to eat pizza and ice cream the next day. So I think that it's important to consider what you can maintain long term and what sorts of choices you might be able to make in an incremental fashion that are going to last a lot longer. So rather than getting in a situation where you feel somewhat restricted with your food choices, like, oh, all I can eat are these foods, I can't eat a legume, I can't eat a grain, which arguably some legumes, some grains, for some people should be healthy and should be fine. It's different for everyone. But you might check out some sort of an elimination diet instead, something where you're eliminating the common allergens. So I think that the Whole30 is kind of an elimination diet. They just take it a step further and eliminate grains and legumes and things like that because some people take issue with digesting them. However, if you're not one of those people and you feel like you're missing out on portions of your diet and you're feeling restricted, it's not going to be the sort of thing that you can follow for the long term. And I think that even this, they say 30 days, right? But again, you've got those 30 days where you're eating so virtuously and so clean that then once that time is up, it's going to be kind of difficult to find the balanced place. And I think dancers really should strive to find that balanced place where you're eating healthy foods the majority of the time. So those are those whole, unprocessed plant foods, just whole foods, things that you can recognize and pronounce, and not getting into a yo-yo pattern where you're all over the place with food. So dancers, that is my take on the Whole30. If you've tried it or you have any comments or opinions on it, I would love to hear your input in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the Whole Dancer YouTube channel. Every single week I'll come out with a new video on a topic on dancer health, dancer wellness, diet, body, lifestyle. My goal is to support you in having the happiest, healthiest, most balanced dance journey that you can. Thanks again so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.